Welcome back, everyone. It's the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. I am your host, Richie. And no, this is not the Blair Witch Project. I am in my girl's car. This thing is about the size of a sardine can. But, we can't stop the hustle. We are here. I had to pick up some stuff for Jen. We are still not completely moved in. And my God, does this girl have a lot of clothes. But with me tonight, my man, Mr. Ryan Shed, a.k.a. Carson Wentz. For those of you who don't understand why Mr. Wentz's picture is next to Mr. Shed's picture, it is an ongoing inside joke with love here at the show. And it's all about the final week of the season tonight. And I will say this, man. The Cincinnati Bengals need a lot of help, but recent history has shown that the impossible can indeed happen in Week 18.
Anything can happen. Just for a reminder to all the folks out there, it was a year ago this week that I started for the Los Angeles Rams, and I beat my team, the San Francisco 49ers, who were, in fact, starting or benching all their starters. But I still got the dub, and I plan on getting the dub this week against the Denver Broncos. As far as that goes, I will not be relaying any of our game planning, but go Chiefs.
I mean, some of the experts say that the Chiefs would run a vanilla game plan, but let's not forget that everybody's favorite Ginger back in 2017 was the probable NFL MVP before the injury. And then he saw Big Dick Nick bring it home for the Eagles.
Nicky Six.
That's right, man. It is what it is. We're going to start with the less notables. Home teams are in capital letters. These are my picks, not speaking for my man Shed. I've got the Packers 24 over the Bears 17. Jacksonville Jaguars 27 over the Colts 23 in Indy. Arizona Cardinals by 4 over Shed's Niners. I've got the Chargers 23 to the Raiders 20. Seattle Seahawks by 10 over the Rams, who are being led by a former 49er cornerback, Jimmy G. I've got the Commanders by 2 scores over Zappy's Cowboys. And I'm going to let this just ring back one more time, give Shed an opportunity to chime in on anything that he wants to. And I'm going to go back into the darkness.
Yeah, I like the Colts over the Jags. There's got to be a bad vibe going on in Indianapolis. I mean, Pat McAfee's calling out the team, the players, the ownership, the coaches. I mean, there was almost no excuse for them to show up at MetLife Stadium and lay that dud they did. They are a far more talented team, and the Giants just looked that much better. I mean, the Giants played a lot of grit, a lot of heart that I think a lot of us weren't expecting. Obviously, the fan base specifically would more than likely have rather seen them lay down and kind of grant themselves that number 1 overall pick. But good for them. They played hard, and that shows the kind of culture that Brian Dable's still, contributing to there. These kids aren't going to give up. And that's a good thing, as much as the Giant fans may not appreciate it. The other issue I have with the less notables is I do think that the Cowboys will end up beating the Commanders. I don't know how much the Commanders are going to be full force. They're in the playoffs. I mean, Cooper Rush isn't a slouch. Dallas is playing hard, man. I mean, they're still not giving up. I don't even know if they'll end up firing McCarthy at this rate. I mean, they're playing hard.
One thing that I'm curious about in reference to Green Bay and the Commanders, because I was kind of trying to figure out, going over different scenarios. It's not likely, even if the Packers were to give Jordan Love only a half duty, because, Malik Willis is not too bad. He has a decent grip of that playbook. Mm-hmm. In the event that the Packers were to lose to the Bears and the Commanders were to win, I was curious if the Commanders had a better record in any metric, but I didn't come to any conclusion that they do.
No, I mean, I think that Green Bay definitely has a far superior team than the Commanders. I mean, the Commanders are going to be a force to be reckoned with as we move forward.
Yeah, I was kind of alluding to any kind of conference tie breaks, because I do know that Green Bay has those 4 divisional losses. And I was kind of combing over the Commander schedule to see what was lining up. And in that regard, it would take a Green Bay loss, but I do believe a Commander win paired with a Green Bay loss could actually jump the Commanders over the Packers, which would be what, 6-7, I believe?
Yeah. Yep.
But I'll tell you, man, I haven't said this in a very long time, Shed. For the first time in a long time, I think the NFC might actually be a better conference than the AFC.
That's tough to say. I mean, going into the season, I mean, we all thought the Niners were still going to be contenders. Obviously, there's been a lot
They
of
were my Super
devastation
Bowl
going on
pick,
with that
bro.
franchise. And Dallas was still up there, and they're nowhere to be seen. Philadelphia might be the most complete team. Detroit scares me because of what the Niners did to them. The Niners had a makeshift offensive line. They signed guys off the Carolina Panthers
Yes.
practice squad and
Yes.
plugged them in just to start. No
Good
reps
point.
with the team.
Good point.
And the Niners kept up with them, and they very well could have won that game if Jake Moody doesn't miss 2 field goals and an extra point. I mean, the Niners are completely depleted and still beat up on them. Detroit scares me in that I don't know if their defense is going to be able to stop anybody. And
Yeah,
their
they did
offense is
try to
great,
address
but
some of that in this past draft. And of course, with Hutch going down, they bring in Zadarius Smith. We
yeah.
know what their offense can do. That goes without saying. But I do
Yep.
share your sentiments, Shed, that the Detroit Lions, while being an ultra talented team, the Buffalo Bills looked like they were playing 7-on-7s against them.
Yeah.
And even the Green Bay Packers, the most recent win over the Packers, they allowed the Packers back in the game. They didn't exactly look impressive on Turkey Day when they defeated a lowly Chicago Bears team. And to your point, most recently, all the injuries on the defending conference champion 49ers, who are a shell of themselves because of all the injuries. And I'll tell you, just a quick side note about your team. I believe that because you are such a talented team and because you're going to be uncharacteristically picking high for a change, it might not be everybody's worst fears that the 49ers window is closed. I think it's just on pause right now.
I tend to agree. I mean, within reason, everybody should be back. There's going to be a lot of the Niners are very top heavy, so a lot of those substitute players on the defensive line, the corners, safeties, all those guys, they just kind of like 1 year, contracts are going to be gone. I think they get rid of Hargrave.
Yes.
Debo may even be gone, to be honest with you. He has lost a step. He's dropping passes.
It's hard
He's
to
not the
imagine
same
him being
player.
gone because of his versatility, but yeah, dude. I mean, and I'll tell you the truth.
He's not the same player,
He took
Richie.
such a
He's not.
freaking beating. I tend to agree. And, when you guys paid Ayuk, I was not a fan of it. I really did not see them shelling out that money for Ayuk, and he gets hurt, 3-4 games in?
I think it was the 6th game, but yeah, he wasn't having a great season up to that point anyway.
No, sir. Missed a lot of time,
and that's it. Correct. Those practice reps that he was not involved in with Brock Purdy in training camp, all that played a toll. Like, if you remember the year before, Ayuk was still pretty good, but he had that full off season with Purdy, and look how much it paid off throughout the entire season. And I have a McCaffrey for, let's be honest, like 15 games he's been out. I mean, yes, he's played a few games, but he was not himself. So, I mean,
I must admit,
he'll come back, better next year, and we'll see what happens.
The way I'm all posted up in this car because of overloading the very little sardine can, it looks like I got my face like all up in this, like doing the wags. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you got to check the catalog. Check out TikTok, How to Lose Your Job on a Podcast. Wherever you are, wags, I love you, buddy. Just busting your balls. All right. Race for the AFC North and 1 pick. We got the Cleveland Browns at 3-13 playing the former Cleveland Browns, the Baltimore Ravens at 11-5. The Ravens win the North with a win. The Browns, with a loss and a little help, could claim the 1 pick. I don't see any scenario where the Browns win this ball game. There's not much to say, so I'll make it short and sweet. Derrick Henry goes for a buck here. I think that Bateman gets behind the defense for a long ball, and I think they win with relative ease. But they're not going to be sharp because they're not going to be all that interested regardless. 24 Ravens, 9 for the Browns, 24-9 for the former Browns, the current Ravens.
Interesting. The AFC North is always tough. I don't care if the team's 1-15 and the other guy's 15-1. It's always going to be a freaking battle. That being said, I still think Baltimore's going to win the game, but I think it's going to be a tough out. I don't think it's just going to be Cleveland's going to go in there and just get steamrolled. The AFC North just doesn't play like
so you
that.
got the Browns showing up a little bit better on offense.
Yeah, I mean Myles Garrett. If he's going to probably try to opt out or get traded in the offseason because his comment was he wants to see what the Cleveland Browns plan is moving forward before he either signs an extension or goes elsewhere. So
I love players that are loyal to their organization, but Myles, get the hell out of there. You have almost 6 decades worth of proof that whatever their plan is, it's not going to lead to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's tough.
Get
I like his loyalty though,
because
but he's not going to just bail on him. He wants to see what the plan is and then go from there.
He's a stand-up dude. I got a lot of respect for Myles.
That dude's a baller, man.
Yeah, a lot of respect for him. Great teammate, true leader, and something that you don't see a lot in today's sports is loyalty. But personally, I don't think Cleveland has earned his loyalty when I think about, the plus versus the minuses. But, he's a throwback. I'd love to see him land on a winner because he's a winner and he deserves to win.
But, yeah, I mean, I like Baltimore to win 27-20. That would be closer
so you got the Browns showing up a little bit.
Yeah,
I want
tough,
the Browns to win the game outright. Because if you look at the less notables, I'm doing a little something here where I've got certain teams winning certain games that could help a certain team in East Rutherford. But we'll get to that later.
I was going to say we're probably going to be hitting them next, but maybe not.
Cincinnati, Pittsburgh,
there it is.
The Bengals are not dead. They are the greatest 8-8 team in the history of the league.
Every week.
A week ago, they were the greatest 7-8 team. 2 weeks ago, they were the greatest 6-8 team.
Correct.
The greatest 5-8 team.
Yeah.
Macaulay Culkin is flinging that thing. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins just take turns on who's going to be the boss of the day, but they are both phenomenal receivers. Recently, Joe Burrow stated that he will take a pay cut if it benefits T. Higgins' situation to stay. Even T. Higgins, another unselfish dude, recently said that he will be willing to take a pay cut to stay. They're going to figure it out. Higgins ain't going nowhere. He wants to keep that dynamic receiver duo together. In the first meeting, the Bengals were able to score a lot of points, but they were outscored because of their defense. I think this game is going to be close, but I've seen it too many times, Ryan, over the years, where you get like this miracle 17% chance of making the playoffs. You need a lot of people to lose. Sometimes you even need people to run up scores. It's all kinds of madness to get into the playoffs when you get off to such a horrible start. And I know that the Chiefs are not supposed to let these guys in. I get it. But for now, they'll be alive. We'll see. Give me the Bengals. Give me the Bengals here. I don't like what I'm seeing in Pittsburgh down the stretch. They look tired. Mike Tomlin's a phenomenal coach. That's not to be questioned. Russell Wilson, nice year after the way he got treated out in Denver. But I still don't completely trust those Pittsburgh receivers. I don't completely trust their running backs to just take over. I think the world of their front seven, but their secondary does have some leakage. I like Joey Porter Jr., but he does have a propensity to run kind of like out a little too much and ball hawk a little too aggressively where he could get burned over the top. And you're talking about possibly the best duo in the NFL in the form of Higgins and Chase. I think the Bengals are going to score some points here. And I think they're going to actually make some stops that we didn't see in the first game or we haven't seen most of the year because they're playing for their lives. Give me the Bengals in a very close game, 34-27 on the road, and hoping that the Chiefs don't lay down.
Okay. Okay. Uh, man, I'll tell you what. Joe Burrow's an MVP candidate, and rightfully so. Jamar Chase is going to end up being the Triple Crown winner for receivers.
Amazing.
I don't think that stops. I don't care what DB you have on him. If you give Burrow any kind of time, he'll find him. He tore up Pittsburgh last time too.
He certainly did. He's been tearing up everybody, bro.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, let's just not isolate freaking Pittsburgh with that. I mean,
I do want to
he's doing damage
that
to
the
everybody.
Giants held them to 17.
Let's not
Nobody
go
cares.
there.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. I'm just going to say.
Nobody cares. So, but my issue with Pittsburgh right now is their defense is a little banged up. T.J. Watt has that ankle sprain, and he's not. If you watched him last week, he just didn't have it.
He was very good compared to very great, but I know what you mean. He didn't have that second motor.
Correct. I mean, hit another week of rest, sure, but he's still not the same. They really need to rest him. I mean, Pittsburgh's in the playoffs anyway, but they won't and they shouldn't. And he won't want to anyway. But anyways, Cincinnati, I agree with you. I think they're going to end up winning this game, and then we're all going to be glued to the screen to see what happens with me playing against the Broncos, which can't give you too much of an inside info on how that game is going to go. But I do like Cincinnati to win the game. I think it's going to be a little bit lower scoring than that, though. I like 27-22 Cincinnati.
Whatever it takes. I want to see Joe Burrow in the playoffs because it's must-see TV when the Bengals offense gets on the TV. And that leads us to the Mile High City, Kansas City Chiefs, the world champions at 15-1. Looking to become only the second team in NFL history to have a 16-win regular season. Hey, Brett, who was the other team that did that? And we have the Denver Broncos, who have slowly been giving their fans a little bit of cardiac trauma with not getting it done. Winnable games that they just have not been able to finish out. So the Broncos need a win, and they are in. Carson Wentz gets the start for the Chiefs. And I get it. If you look at recent history and you're Andy Reid, why would you want to win this game? I only have one reason and one reason only. It's called pride. You want to stick it up the ass of your division rival. And I'll be honest, off record, on record, whatever record, I don't like Sean Payton. He's a great coach, but I don't like him. I don't like what he did to Russell Wilson. I don't like how he kind of stood by Bounty Gate. I don't like the way that he disrespected Nathaniel Hackett. Quite frankly, I think he's an asshole. As the Chiefs go, I don't know how many of their starters they're going to pull during the course of this game. But I do believe that the Chiefs have a very deep team where with a man like Carson Wentz, who in my opinion is one of the better backups in the league, given his resume, he's one of those guys that in the event that Patrick Mahomes got knocked around in the playoffs and got knocked out for real, I still believe that Wentz has enough around him to actually win a Super Bowl. I really mean that. And that would be ironic considering that he got his ring by being the starter and having to watch his backup. In dramatic fashion, give me the Chiefs 18, give me the Broncos 17, and I am calling for 6. I said 6. Harrison Butker field goals. Go to hell, Denver. Go to hell. Leave the playoffs. And now it's down to Miami for that Cincinnati miracle to occur.
So you mentioned that Andy Reid wants to win for pride. I disagree. I think Andy Reid wants to win because he does not want to see Denver in the playoffs. The Chiefs were very lucky, very fortunate to have Denver get a field goal kick blocked in Kansas City.
Well, it's funny you say that shit.
I wouldn't want to see Denver in the playoffs. That defense is ferocious.
And that's part of the reason that they're sitting Patrick Mahomes, and that's part of the reason why they're playing you.
Correct.
And I don't know if I said that with good grace. Like they don't care if you get hurt. No, I didn't mean it like that. But what I'm saying is like that team in Cincinnati has a good history against the Chiefs. So there is a part of me that feels that the Chiefs might not. They're the Chiefs. They're the two-time defending world champions, three-time overall in the Mahomes era. I think the Chiefs are going to find a way to win the game and stick it to Denver. And I want it to happen because I can't stand Denver. I don't like John Elway. I'm not even an AFC guy. I just don't like them.
I'm not biased on either direction. I'm just going to say that I think there's going to be a lot of running with Kareem Hunt.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't think Pacheco's going to even play. And
I wouldn't play him.
And I'll tell you this. To your point, I wouldn't want to play Mahomes against this defense. They have the most sacks in the league. They have a number one corner in Patrick Surtain. I mean, I'm going to have a hard time throwing the ball to Xavier Worthy if he's going to play. I mean,
that's why I got them kicking
Hollywood
6
Brown's
field
going to play,
goals for
but
the W.
he's not the same player.
No, but that's why I got them winning with 6 field goals. 6 field goals gets it done.
I hate to say it, but I don't think Denver's gonna lose this. They're home. It's at Mile High. I mean, that defense is too good, and with me at the helm, don't get me wrong, I have all the confidence in me, but all our defensive starters aren't going to be playing either. And Bo Nix on the other side, man. I like Denver to win this one, 20-14.
We saw this kind of controversy in Varsity Blues, with the ascension of Johnny Moxon. I don't know. I still think the Chiefs are going to find a way. We shall see, but it's the fan in me, the football fan in me that just wants to see the best quarterbacks in the playoffs. And it's no knock or indictment on the rookie Bo Nix, but I really, really want to see Joe Burrow in the playoffs. So we'll see what happens.
Macaulay Culkin's going to be home alone, bud.
The Miami Dolphins are heading to East Rutherford, New Jersey to take on the New York Jets. Just bear with me putting this on the ticker.
You're good.
As I try to not get stabbed by whatever the hell my girl has in this thing. The Jets are 4-12. I recently saw the Netflix thing on Aaron Rodgers. I usually like anything sports related on Netflix. It was okay, but it's not something that I'm going to do a backflip over. But if you are into Jets history, or if you just like 30 for 30s, definitely check out the New York Sack Exchange, which features that incredible foursome in Jets lore that was put together in 1981. That was a good one. Watch that if you're a football fan. Watch it twice if you're a Jet fan. As this game goes, oh, look who's here. Mr. Zappy.
Oh, my God. It's Carson.
Welcome.
What's up,
Welcome
Mike?
to the show, Zappy.
What's going on, gentlemen?
Chilling out. You came at a good time. We are in the process of talking about the Jets hosting the Dolphins, and I am trying to come up with every reason why the Bengals will find a way into the playoffs, and it continues here. Aaron Rodgers throwing it back. He just walked through his face. That was kind of cool.
He just became Carson Wentz.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers is going to win this game. Miami doesn't play well in the cold, especially 2 weeks in a row. It's just not going to happen. Give me the Jets by a tally of 26-24 as Jason Sanders misses a heartbreaking potential game-winning field goal to send the Dolphins to the playoffs, which opens the door for Joe Cool 2.0 to lead the Bengals to the playoffs. Yes, sir.
Well,
give me the Jets 26. Give me the Dolphins 24.
I don't have a lot of faith in the Jets.
Tyreek Hill 2 drops.
Ooh.
Tyreek Hill 2 big drops.
You're going to continue his drop streak. Okay. I still have a lot of faith in nobody in this game. To your point, though, we all know the Dolphins have a very tough time playing in the cold. I feel more of the same. I think it's going to be a very low scoring game. But yeah, give me the Jets to win 17-14. I don't have much to say. I just don't see a lot of grit coming from Miami.
Well, I appreciate that you don't have much to say because I'll be honest, I don't really want to talk about this game. But, I'm just trying to do my due diligence to be unbiased. But I've been putting it on full display. I really want to see Joe Burrow in the playoffs. And, thank you, Joe. You were a vital part of helping me win the Pops Cheddar in the Sun League. And, my God, you were awesome in Home Alone 2, The Good Son. I just think you're really swell, pal. I just think you're really swell.
Hey, give him props for Mila Kunis, too. Good for him.
Hey,
Mr. Zappi, your thoughts on this clash of the Dolphins and the former Titans?
My only question is, I'm not sure if Aaron Rodgers is actually playing this weekend.
Great question. No, Zappi's
They're going to play Tyrod? They're going to play Tyrod?
That's what apparently.
I like the Jets' chances even more now. I like their chances even more now. I like their chances even more.
And we already know the Jets are going to be moving on from Rodgers and Adams, so they'll probably be going across the street next year to the Giants. But
God Almighty, why do you wish that on me?
I don't wish anything on you. I'm just speaking facts, sir. But as far as this game goes, Tua, is he playing? We don't know. Probably not.
Yeah, don't know.
So, and I think that's what it hinges on. If Tua plays and if Rodgers does, and I actually think the Dolphins will pull it off. But even with the cold weather and everything, I just have this. The Jets are a more dysfunctional team right now than the Dolphins are. And this would be one of those games the Jets know how to blow.
You can say that in every game this season, though, Mike. Come on.
Yeah, that's
Zappy,
my point.
If the Dolphins lose this game, and I actually like Mike McDaniel, but if they find a way to lose this game, Mike McDaniel could get fired.
I don't think he's on the hot seat.
I don't either.
Well, they didn't think Brian Flores was either, but
Yeah, I know, but I think they're going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
I think this is the year that you should do that personally, but the Bengals are finding a way in. The Jets are going to find a way. I don't care if it's Aaron Rodgers. I don't care if it's Tyrod Taylor. I don't care if it's Jordan Travis. The Jets will find a way this week.
I think
Daniel,
the Jets
Daniel Jones is playing.
Daniel Jones?
Yeah, that'd be if the Vikings went with Daniel Jones instead of Sam Darnold with the division and the number 1 seed on the line. That would be the ultimate Kevin O'Connell. Just give me my walking papers. I think the Jets are going to win this game, but I'm not confident that the Chiefs are going to win.
How dare you? Who are you?
It's nothing against you. It's they're
so audacious.
They're resting every starter. They're resting every starter.
That's okay. That's okay.
The not Broncos every starter, Mike. Come on.
The Broncos do not want it right now. They are finding ways to lose.
Nope. Mike, I picked the Broncos to win, by the way, just so we're clear.
After Dicker the kicker did something that hasn't been done since the mid-'70s, at that point, I knew that the Broncos were just screwed. This one's not for John.
Well, I guess you guys did that game. I'm taking the Broncos too to win and the Broncos to clinch the final spot in the playoffs.
That's what
I like it. And you're probably right, but I just really want to see Joe Burrow in the damn playoffs. So I'm being biased. Like if you looked at my list notables, I came up with all kinds of scenarios where the Giants get back to the 2 pick. NFC South titles on the line. We've got the New Orleans Saints at 5-11 taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Zappy, any word if Brett's boy, the most improved one, Derek Carr, is going to be a part of this?
No word yet. Injury reports don't usually come out till Thursday or Friday, so we won't know for another 20.
I would be surprised if he plays, boys. It's a meaningless game. Why?
Yeah, the only motivation is to screw a division rival because I'll tell you what, they have no chance with Spencer Rattler.
No,
I don't know how much more of a chance they have with him. Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
No, I agree with you. I was gonna say there's the motivation behind this game for the Saints is draft position.
Absolutely. And any motivation to do anything would have been last week if Carr was healthy in a revenge game, which he wasn't healthy for. Because as I said last week on our show, Zap, wrong place, wrong time yet again.
Indeed.
But
I'll say,
go ahead.
I like Tampa Bay to honestly just roll. I mean, Baker Mayfield. I mean, I said it on a preview show. We haven't really seen bad Baker like within reason at all this year. I mean, yes, we've seen him, but not near. It was probably 50-50, 60-40 years past. It's probably 80-20, 90-10. Homeboy's
he's
balling
been
out.
terrific this year. You could make a
He's
logical argument
out.
that he's just outside the top 5 this year.
Yeah, dude, he's been fantastic. And Mike Williams is having yet again another phenomenal season. Injuries slowed him down a little bit, but man,
you mean Mike Evans, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Oh, what did I say?
Mike Williams.
Oh, Mike. Yeah, I'm sorry, Mike Evans. I apologize.
We know who you meant.
Bucky Irving has been an absolute godsend in that running game. Rashad White had been the starter, but Bucky Irving is an absolute rising star. That defense is a little leaky, but against the Saints, who cares?
That Tampa defense is not what they once were, but they do have moments. And the ascension of Bucky Irving, I actually think, has made Rashad White refocus. But the two-headed monster in the playoffs in any year is always something that you have to account for. And
Correct.
Tampa kind of gives me that vibe that they could be one of those teams that if they get into the dance could beat somebody that you don't expect them to. And that's kind of exciting.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like them to win 31-10.
Give me Tampa 38 and the Saints 10. Give me 10.
Where is this game being played?
Doesn't matter if it was on the moon, but it is in
Tampa.
No,
it does matter. It does
matter. Tampa. It's at Tampa.
It's in Tampa. Okay. The only reason why I said it does matter is because of what New Orleans just went through today. That this Saints team would come motivated to play for the city.
Yeah, that was very heinous. That was very heinous.
But if it's in Tampa, yeah, give me Tampa to pull this one off. I'm going to go 34-6. Saints can't do anything with that offense, and then we don't even know if Kendrick Miller's going to play this week either. Like, they're just
they're depleted. I mean, they're done.
They're done. Yeah, they are done.
Yeah. In reference to what Zappy's speaking on, tragic mass shooting yet again, and there's more facts come on.
No, it was a truck.
It was a mass
drive. You're talking about the truck. There was another incident. All right, continue.
No, it was an individual that decided to plow through a crowd of people, killing 15, sending another 33 to the hospital. There was a shooting involved afterwards, as he was in a shootout with the police, shooting 2 officers. Eventually, he was shot dead. But this is the result of why the Sugar Bowl has been delayed a day, because there was other IEDs involved, and they had to ensure that the area is safe.
It's just so sickening, man. It truly is, and it's like
it's awful, man.
Can we have a good time anywhere anymore?
Nope.
No.
It's disgusting. I know I speak for these two men. Our sincerest condolences to the families. How are the officers doing?
I believe the officers, they've been fallen. I'd have to double check. Don't quote me. It's a big mess with everything that happened. So
unbelievable, man. It's sickening. It truly is. It's sickening. Yeah, and tonight was also, I figured I would be giving live updates of our beloved Irish, but this is bigger than football. This is real life, and it's just really sad shit.
Totally.
Yeah. But we all got Tampa with relative ease. We're gonna move along to the.
I'm taking Tampa, but you know what? I'm saying it now. They're not going to the playoffs.
Interesting.
Well, if Tampa wins, they're in, because Tampa is a game up on Atlanta at the moment.
Are they?
Yeah. No. Richie's right. Yeah. I mean, they win the ring.
7.
So they win the ring.
Actually, have to lose.
That's right. I was thinking they lost.
Atlanta does have the tiebreaker over Tampa in the event they land on the same record.
But they
That's right. I got my game. I completely forgot that Atlanta blew the game.
Oh, I did not. That thing won me $1,000, baby.
Nice.
NFC South on the line as the Carolina Panthers at 4-12 take on the Atlanta Falcons at 8-8. Falcons can win the South with a win, and a Bucs loss and Atlanta loss will eliminate them. I do think the Atlanta Falcons do enough to win this game, but the Carolina Panthers have been playing much better football, and I keep tracking it back to after benching Bryce Young and after their victory over the Giants in Germany. I feel like the Panthers have gradually been playing better football. Bryce Young seems to have his swag back to a level. And I actually think that they may not go route of quarterback and maybe try to rebuild this team around Bryce Young. We shall see. But Chuba Hubbard, in a rebuilding, just rough year, really running the ball well. I like the way Atlanta looks from a competitive standpoint, more so with Michael Penix than I did the last couple of weeks of watching Kirk Cousins. But Atlanta, man, they're still disappointing to me. Like, whether it was Cousins or Penix, I expected a lot more than 8-8 at this juncture of the year.
Totally agree. I really thought that Kirk Cousins would have elevated that offense to another level.
I did too.
And it didn't pan out. And I thought that defense was going to take a bigger step with signing a Judon. You have Bates on the back end, who's still All Pro, Pro Bowler, really good player. They still don't have a very good defensive line. No linebacking core at all. Their defense is very leaky, which is why they struggle so much. Aside from Kirk Cousins not playing up to the caliber he has in years past. With all that said, I do like Carolina to win the game. They've been playing, to Richie said, a lot better football. Juba Hubbard will not be playing, and they don't have Miles Sanders either. He's gone.
And the kid Brooks is actually on the IR yet again. If I'm not mistaken.
and he's gone. Yep, he retore it.
Who the hell's going to run the football?
I'll be honest with you, I'm not even sure. I didn't look it up, but I'll say
Blackshear, probably Blackshear.
But they're playing very hard and have been. Ever since my brethren, Mr. Andy Dalton, hurt his finger and resurrected that team and gave them a little bit extra fire. And then he got hurt, gave him enough lift and enough freaking confidence for Bryce Young to come back and that team to start actually playing competitive football. And ever since then, they've been playing extremely well. Despite them losing, they're still way more competitive than they were at the beginning of the season. That's why I'm picking them to win. I like Carolina to win 21-17.
All right. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if they won. Atlanta's that kind of team this year. I mean, it's weird. They're the only team that can say that they won in Philly, but yet they have some dubious losses, and it came down to a Hail Mary against the Raiders to beat them, and that's ultimately what got Kirk Cousins benched. Michael Penix looked rather good against the G-Men, and he had some moments against the Commanders, but man, oh man, and boys, I got to tell you this. I'm not sure if I put this in the group thread or not, but the big money league that I was in that I just mentioned that I won literally came down to the final play of the game, the season on the line. The Zach Ertz touchdown won me the league.
Wow. Impressive.
Yeah, dude. I picked up Olamide Zacchaeus in free agency.
He went off too.
He sure did. I benched Jonnu Smith and I benched Tyreek Hill. Achan had a quiet game. Baker Mayfield sat on my bench while Josh Allen had a good game, but not a great game. And I'll be honest, guys, it looked like I was going to lose. I was down to a 1% chance to win with 3 minutes left in the game. And when I won, It almost took the sleeper app quite a while to wake up because it was like that shocking. I was, the group chat of that particular league was getting blown up. Shouts out Matt Anderson, hell of a league. My first year in it. It's a dynasty league, but I look forward to year 2. And I was fortunate enough to win 3 fantasy leagues. I know Zappy did rather well in his fantasy season. But, yeah, man. Got dumped out in my work league. Lost the championship in one of my coworkers' leagues, but won the other 3. Won Pops Cheddar and the Sun. Won the sleeper league, which is the Dynasty one, and also the Independence League. So 3 out of 5 ain't bad.
That's pretty good.
That ain't bad at all. The only 2 leagues that I did not make the playoffs in were in John Olson's leagues, so
It's rigged. It's rigged.
make it make sense.
It's rigged.
And you have a good history at that league too. That's what makes it kind of
You
wild.
had an A+ draft, if I remember right, Mike.
Yeah, I had an A+ draft, but except Ayuk, Waddle, they decided they didn't want to show up this year, and Anthony Richardson decided he didn't want to show up this year. Guys that had high expectations gave us low results.
That's the stuff with season long. You have no idea. It's a lot of luck.
Yeah, Zappy picked up quite a bit of draft capital, but for 2 consecutive years, the guys with the most draft capital, it just didn't go their way. But sometimes you could draft wonderfully and guys just underperform, and sometimes it's as simple as that. Zappy actually deserves an assist for my championship because I
really
gave
does.
up some serious draft capital to Zappy, 1st and 2nd pick to be exact, for next year in order to acquire Cooper Kupp and Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs more so was the guy who helped me. Cooper Kupp kind of ran out of steam down the stretch. But when you have Joe Burrow and T. Higgins and Saquon Barkley and Jahmyr Gibbs, you got a pretty good chance to do business. So thank you, Zappy, for trading with me. And that is 3 consecutive years I've made the finals in that league. I am 2 of the last 3, as many of you have heard that watch the show. Zappy and I split the prize because of the tragedy with the Damar Hamlin game. Thankfully, Damar Hamlin is doing great. We're very happy about that.
I will accept your thanks when you split the pot with me.
Boom.
Just kidding.
I like that.
I'm gonna go back to this game. Ryan, you took the Panthers. I'm taking the Falcons. I think this game means more to Raheem Morris than it does anyone else. Yes, they had underperforming jobs by the defense. Kirk Cousins, we saw what happened to him. Started off the year hot and then just fell off the face of the earth. To me, I think this Falcons team is going to come down to the fact that they didn't hire Bill Belichick before the season started. And
interesting take, Zap. Okay.
I like the take, though. I really like that take.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, okay.
I really like that take.
I think Raheem Morris will be a part of the Black Monday here coming up in a few days.
No way.
Yeah, I do. Because when this team had such high expectations, had control of the division.
No way.
Yeah, I really think they're done. And I think a guy by the name of Ben Johnson makes a lot of sense going over to Detroit because I think his style of offense would suit Michael Penix a lot.
I'm now standing under the lamp pole. I was cramping up in the little hatchback. So for the final game, I'm just going to be standing here looking a little different. But no, Zappy, good point on the Belichick shout out. And also a bad scheme, Raheem might be out of a job. Time will tell, but it wouldn't shock me, dude. It really wouldn't.
Every year we have that one coach. Every year there's that one coach that shocks the NFL. In my opinion, it's him this year. I don't think it's Zach. Zach Taylor could be the other one, but it's just the Bengals. They
I would be really disappointed.
Starting.
Arthur Blank
I would be
is
really
a great owner
disappointed
for
if Zach
Atlanta.
Taylor got canned because that offense has been thriving all year, and it really comes down to the defense. If Cincinnati can address that defense and make sure that they keep that version of their triplets together, Burrow, Higgy, and Chase.
Oh, well, Hendricks on the defensive side is good.
Yeah, I mean, offensively, shoot, even Mike Gesicki, who, Brett was drooling over a couple of years ago and saying how he was going to open up things for Devontae Parker.
Your boy.
No, I agree with you, though, Shed. Arthur Blank is one of the best owners in the NFL. Very kind-hearted gentleman. But
Queens product, Queens, New York.
He won't. That right there, Mike. You just said it though. Like he's just not gonna fold. There's a future there with Cousins still there, despite the contract they gave Cousins. They're more likely they're going to release him post June 1st to save some salary cap or dead money hit. But I don't think they're just going to bail on him. It wasn't like the season was a complete utter failure. They're better than they were last year. That doesn't. I mean, obviously they wanted to win the division, win the playoffs. I get it, or make the playoffs, but it's baby steps. They're improving, and he was a part of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. It's still 6-2 to 8-8.
Yeah,
Fair. That's
that is a
fair.
tough thing to overcome when there are other viable coaching options out there. I know that Vrabel's available, but I do genuinely think that because of the relationship with Mike Vrabel and Ryan Poles, Vrabel
Yeah,
likely goes to Chicago.
just think about it. If you're Ben Johnson, the best offensive coordinator in the NFL, think about what you can do with the likes of Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Tyler
Tyler
Algier.
Algier.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I think Ben
That
Johnson
team's
to
loaded
Atlanta.
that
Yeah,
team's loaded on offense.
Even Mooney came out this year.
yeah. I think
But I'll
Ben
tell
Darnell
you,
Johnson
Mooney.
with
man,
that
when
team
they
would be
picked up
great.
Judon a few games into the year, I really thought that was the missing ingredient. And when I see the way they've underachieved over the last 8 weeks,
Big time.
it's quite startling.
The question is, where is Pete Carroll going to go? Because it sounds like he wants back.
He wants to go to Chicago, but
you might have
I would
answered your own question there, Zappy.
homeboy is like 80. I don't know if you want that, but maybe.
And Belichick's no spring chicken. He just took the Carolina job, and he's dealing with younger men than in the NFL. So we shall see. Final game of the week, which is going to be the best game possibly of the entire season. We've got the Minnesota Vikings at 14-2, the Detroit Lions at 14-2. Fellas, how ridiculous is this that the loser of this game will be the fifth seed and be a 14-win team? This division is sending 3 to the playoffs. All 3 of them are capable of winning the conference. These 2 more so than the Packers, but the Packers are still capable. I think this game has everything you would want. You've got 2 quarterbacks that are really having amazing years in different ways. Jared Goff in most years is an MVP candidate. The Detroit Lions have overcome so many injuries. David Montgomery, Aiden Hutchinson, and many players in between.
17 defensive players on IR. That's what they've had to go through.
Yeah.
No, it's incredible. And then you look at the Vikings, and I've been singing their praises for months. This is a game that when the season came out, myself, as well as many, many Giant fans, figured this is going to be the easiest game on our schedule. J.J. McCarthy, 2 knee procedures. Kyrie Jackson, the tragic death in the car accident. Those are 2 rookies. You go out and get Stephon Gilmore. You go out and get Aaron Jones. Your O-line is among the best in the league, both pass blocking and run blocking. T.J. Hockenson, after missing a huge chunk of the year, is reasserting himself as one of the better tight ends. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, some real blow-up games together. They have been truly, truly sensational. And this is for all the marbles in terms of home field advantage and a division crown. Detroit won the first one, but I think there's going to be a different result this time. If I look at the history of the Minnesota Vikings, they're always like the team that is so good, but never could get it done. This particular Minnesota team gives me a different vibe, though. What Brian Flores has done with this defense, and I think O'Connell is such an underrated coach. He truly, I think this guy deserves Coach of the Year. I like the Vikings here on the road. When you have teams that play in similar stadium dimensions, I don't really think the home field for either team is going to be that much of a difference. If Detroit was healthier, like if they had Hutch running around, I would take them. But we spoke about it at the top of the hour, Shed, before Zappy arrived, that we are a little concerned about Detroit.
Yep.
So give me the Vikings here. Give me the Vikings in a high-scoring affair. I'm going to go Minnesota 37, Detroit 34.
Everything you just said, Richie. Some things that I would like to add is you mentioned a lot of offense, the coaches, but the defense has really been the stalwart. The signing of Van Ginkel, they still have like a phenomenal pass rush, even losing Daniil Hunter. That defense is what shocked everybody, I think. And obviously the evasion of me and Carson Wentz's brethren are very own Sam Darnold. Um, he has been playing phenomenal. You put the right person in the right system, and they can excel. He got the short end of the stick getting drafted by the Jets. Um, he then went to Carolina, and that wasn't much better. He then backed up Brock Purdy, and he to his credit, he mentioned that Brock Purdy's preparation did a lot for him. I'm not saying that's why he's excelling so much in Minnesota, but he took a lot from that, and I think that helped him be as good as he is in Minnesota. And to what we already alluded to earlier, Richie, Minnesota is a more complete team at this point in the season. Now,
I tend to agree.
if we were talking at the beginning of the season when they had Hawks and they were completely healthy on defense, I would probably pick Detroit. But I cannot do that now. I don't care if Detroit's home. I know their fans are going to be going crazy because of the importance of this game. But man, I think Minnesota's just a better all around team right now, and I like Minnesota actually a lower scoring game than you, because that defense is pretty good, and I don't know how much um, Minnesota's going to be able to just run the score up that much. But give me Minnesota to win 27-20.
All right, we're both on the Vikings. Is this a clean sweep, Zappy?
You said one key point: home field advantage. And if there's one thing that we know with Detroit this year is home field advantage has not been too kind to them. Their two losses have come at home this year. They're a much better team on the road. And Minnesota has been a great road team, great home team, great all-around team, like Shad just said. Um, yes, Detroit is getting healthier, but it's not enough right now. Their offense obviously can put 42 up in a blink of an eye, but their defense can also give up 42 in a blink of an eye. We saw a phenomenal game on Monday night against the San Francisco 49ers. They won the game. We now know that the 49ers are going to score 34 no matter what, but it required them to put up, 40 or 38, whatever it was.
Yes, indeed.
So, I think this is going to be a high-scoring affair as well. I think it's going to be a back-and-forth game, kind of what we saw when Buffalo came to town. I think it's going to be that type of game. And I think this game is going to come down to who has the ball last, and I think Minnesota has the ball last. And I think Sam Darnold is going to drive them down the field one more time to win this game, but it'll be a game-winning field goal. I'm going to take Minnesota to win this game 41-38. I think it's going to be a barn burner. I think it's going to be a back-and-forth type of game. I'm looking for Jared Goff and Sam Darnold to throw for 350 plus, and Jahmyr Gibbs to have himself a good game as well. There won't be much defense in this one. It's going to be who has the ball last, and I really do think Minnesota will pull this one off and clinch the number one seed in the NFC. Home field advantage, but I still think Detroit goes to the Super Bowl because they are a much better team on the road. For some reason, Dan Campbell, he likes the challenge of coaching on the road. Last year, they should have beat the Niners. Obviously, he made some wrong calls, but that's what Dan Campbell does. You're going to die by Dan Campbell, and you're going to live by him. That's just the type of coach he is. But I think this team, if they're on the road, I think they're a much better team. I think they go into Tampa without any questions, and they win that game easily. And then the challenge to me will be if they have to go to Philadelphia, because I think Philadelphia is the team that presents the best challenge against Detroit right now with how physical Vic Fangio's defense is.
Correct. Yep.
I think I like all the points. Last thing I want to say on this, you nailed it. Live by Dan Campbell, die by Dan Campbell. But when you're playing for the high stakes, and I'm not a Detroit fan, but it infuriated me, not because I gave two shits about the NFC title game last year. I didn't have a horse in the race, and I did root for Shed in the Super Bowl because he's one of our boys.
I didn't.
But the God's honest truth is,
love you, Mike.
The God's honest truth is,
I love you, bud.
Dan Campbell can't be doing that crazy shit when you're up 17 and want to take points off the board. And in the playoffs, that worries me. O'Connell's not going to do that crap. O'Connell, in my opinion, that's what makes him a better coach than Dan Campbell right now. And don't get me wrong, I have a lot of respect for both of them. And, Dan Campbell's a former New York Giant. He was a good Giant, too. Fellas.
And, I'm going to say this one last point.
Yeah, kill this point, Zappy, and then I got to kill this show because I am on 2%.
All right, my last point is in regards to Sam Darnold. if there's one thing we know about him is he's playing with house money. This dude's contract in the offseason continues to go up. So whatever he does this Sunday is not going to affect it in a wrong way, but it's going to affect it in a positive way. That's why I think he's going to come out there and just have himself a wonderful day again. This Vikings team is scary.
It is. I agree.
Way too early to say this, but as of right now, this is a week-to-week thing, dude. I got the Minnesota Vikings winning the conference, and I can't believe I'm saying that, because if somebody would have said that to me week one, I would have laughed at them.
I like Philly and Minnesota in the conference game.
I like Philly.
Going to be interesting. And that's the team that Philly played last time that they won the Super Bowl. Well, the only time they won the Super Bowl.
If Minnesota goes to Philly, that would be a different story, and I would pick Philly. But if Philly goes to Minnesota, I think Minnesota represents the NFC in the Super Bowl. Anyway, sorry, Richie.
I couldn't agree more. I don't think Minnesota could win in Philly. I got to cut this loose before my phone dies. For Zappy and for Shed, it was a pleasure bringing you this show. It is Richie X Junior Sports Podcast. Shed, good luck. Don't screw this up. I want the Bengals in the playoffs. Mr. Zappy, congratulations on your fantasy success. And I humbly thank you for that trade. And don't worry, pal. Next year, when I don't have a pick until round 3, you have the right to make fun of me. Until next time.
I'm going to have number 1 and 2, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. Come join Dallas or Zap Attack, and let's get this season going.
All right, boys.
All right, y'all. I think we lost Richie.
Yeah, we did. So, all right, Zappy, we'll check you.
Everyone have a good night. Thank you for joining the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. Stay tuned as our playoff coverage will begin next Wednesday. Bowl season is well on the way. Oregon has been defeated by Ohio State. Final bowl game tomorrow between Notre Dame and Georgia to set the Final Four up. And we will be hitting more on basketball as we are well on our way into the season. And among other things, everyone have yourself a good night.
Good call for that. All right.